Hey there, folks. I am the Mighty Plantain, and I gotta tell you, I experienced a rare moment of serendipity earlier this evening. Regular viewer and a former coworker, friend, Kyle M., actually 1 year ago today, according to Facebook memories, posted a picture of Harpoon's Dunkin Dozen variety pack, asking me if I was planning on reviewing it or something to that effect. Exactly 1 year to the... And I actually had the camera set up and I was getting ready to do the review that night. 1 year to the day, again, according to Facebook memories, it popped up and said, hey, by the way, this happened a year ago. I actually was planning on setting up the camera to review this pack this night. So, I don't know about release dates, but definitely me getting a hold of them is pretty much lined up 2 years in a row. Not fucking bad. Anyway, we are looking at Harpoon's Dunkin Dozen variety pack. And this year we've got Dunkin Pumpkin, which we've seen for a while now, and 3 new beers. I mean, 3 new beers in a fucking variety pack that only has 4 varieties. Novel idea. Sam Adams, take fucking note. Come on, guys. You're giving us one new one in every seasonal pack these days. Look, we got rid of the Sam 76. It's no longer infiltrated all of the variety packs. I'm okay with that. But now let's start working on getting at least two new varieties in every pack. Pretty sure the old Fezziwig posts got enough likes to get old Fezziwig released this year, but let's see it in 6-packs and 12-packs instead of just the variety. This is not a Sam Adams video, but just saying, take note, guys. 3 new varieties in a variety pack. That's something. Anyway, the 3 new ones in here are Dunkin Midnight, which I believe is going to be a stout of some sort. Dunkin Blueberry Matcha IPA, and Dunkin Maple Creme, or Creme, I don't know. There's no little accent mark, so I'm going to say cream. So what we're going to do is we're going to do these in the following order. We're going to go with Dunkin Pumpkin first, then we're going to do the Maple Creme, and I'm going to do the Dunkin Midnight before I do the Blueberry Matcha IPA. Now, I've mentioned this on variety packs before, but yes, normally you would go light to dark beers, and I assume that the Maple Creme is going to be lighter than the darker and heavier than the Dunkin Pumpkin, and Dunkin Midnight obviously is going to be something that's darker and probably darker than the other two. But I am putting the IPA last. And I've mentioned this before, but you usually go from light to dark beers in order of tasting. But rookie mistake is to incorporate the IPAs in the light to dark profile. IPAs tend to be hoppier, hence that's the whole point of the IPA. It's an India Pale Ale. They added hops to preserve the brew on the trip to India from the UK. Anyway. But IPAs tend to be hoppier, and hoppy flavors can ruin your taste buds better than a dark beer can. So, again, rookie mistake is to incorporate the IPAs in the light to dark spectrum when you're doing the tastings. If you go to a brewery and they put beers in the order of light to dark, even though you've ordered either a single or double IPA or even a triple, and they put the IPA before their stout, it's a rookie mistake. They don't know what they're doing. Because those bitter hops will wreck your palate better than anything. Now, I will be cleansing with water in between each of these beers, but again, the hoppy stuff always comes last, because no matter how much cleansing with water you do, it can still wreck your taste buds. So, alright. I think I've run off the mouth long enough for that. Between the stumblings over my words slight slurring of my speech, which I'm probably thinking isn't there, but I'm realizing probably is, and the minor, like, almost hiccups that were happening there. Pretty obvious this is not my first go around this evening. I've got a few drinks on board already. So, Harpoon Dunkin Pumpkin. I almost called it Drunken Pumpkin. I mean, I think I could be excused for using the word drunken for Dunkin in any of these descriptions or expressions or buzzwords here on the packaging. But Dunkin Pumpkin. Again, we've seen this before as a very, very orangish brown, hazy, cloudy beer. Lots of effervescence. I mean, it just looks like a fucking cup full of pumpkin. It's a pumpkin beer with a dark profile. Lots of bubbles. And a bitter coffee aroma. And there's maybe a slight undertone of pumpkin there. You can definitely smell the coffee in that one. We've seen some coffee blondes as well as some darker coffee beers, but oh, that's like freshly roasted beans right there. It's amazing. Mm. The flavors kind of rotate on the palate. I mean, there's a distinctly bitter coffee flavor, but there's also a nice, like, pulpy, squashy pumpkin flavor as well. Hints of pie spices, maybe a little bit of sweetness, but it's basically pumpkin and coffee. There's nothing too crazy there. It's pumpkin and coffee. And it's just a really great combo. It works for this beer. It's delicious. I mean, it's not earth-shattering. It's not mind-blowing. I'm going to hit this with a 4 out of 5 right now. I'm not sure what I've given this in the past, but tonight it's a 4 out of 5 because I've got nothing bad to say about it. It's going down smooth and easy. It is a perfect pairing of pumpkin and coffee flavors in a good beer. It's sitting at 5.2% ABV, which is not bad at all. I actually, by the way, I just want to point out, I love the fact that Harpoon has got this employee-owned banner right on their packaging. There's a lot of employee-owned companies out there, folks, and they're mostly ESOPs, employee stock ownership programs, and there are benefit ESOPs, which is basically, yeah, it's great. You own shares of stock in the company that are bought by the company and given to you for free. It's a retirement benefit, and that's the beginning and ending of the whole fucking story. Still a great boon for the employees, still a big benefit when they come to retire time, but then there were culture-based ESOPs, and the culture-based companies take that employee ownership from top to bottom, from the top levels of management all the way down to the folks doing the real grunt work, for lack of a better term. And there's a culture of employee ownership that's built into this great retirement benefit. Harpoon's one of those places that's got the culture down pat. Anyway, a big part of that culture building is marketing and branding. Some folks think that employee-owned company it's just a marketing term, and it should be used sparingly depending on the market you're trying to capture. Others believe that it's a part of the corporate identity and it should be included in everything. And that's one of the differences between a culture-based ESOP and a benefit-based ESOP. So, anyway, I'm going to get off that fucking soapbox and just say that Harpoon's branding is on point for a culture-based ESOP, and leave it at that. Dunkin Pumpkin, tonight, even if I've rated it differently in the past, tonight it's a 4 out of 5. It's delicious. Perfectly blended. Awesome. Going down easy, and this is not going to last long. So I'm going to finish it up, and we're going to move on to the maple cream. I'll try to do a lot less sidetracking on the next 3 beers, I promise. Alright, so next up is Dunkin Maple Creme. Yeah, 5.5% ABV. Oh, this is actually a blonde ale. I guess I missed that on the first one. Actually, ale brewed with lactose, cinnamon, pumpkin, puree, coffee, and other natural flavor. Okay. I missed the description on that one. So, the Maple Creme is a blonde ale brewed with Dunkin' Donuts and maple, with natural and artificial flavors and artificial colors, annatto seed and turmeric extract added. The fuck is annatto seed? Annatto. Alright, whatever. I'll look it up later. It should probably taste like a sweet, doughy beer with maple. Oh. It's actually a little lighter than the last one. I'm wondering if I shouldn't have done these in the opposite order. At least the first two. I'm pretty confident on the next two. But yeah, that's definitely lighter. It's a little cloudier. A little cloudy, but not as cloudy as the last beer. I said cloudier. I know. I stumbled there. But yeah, it's a little cloudy. Not as cloudy as the last beer, but quite effervescent as well. Lots of bubbles coming up through there. This is mostly a yellow to orangish colored beer. It's definitely lighter. Lighter in color. Lighter in cloudiness. And less effervescent. I'm getting more of an overall beery aroma than anything maple. But mostly just a bit of a beery aroma. Nothing specific coming forward, just... Okay. Maybe a hint of sweetness on the back end. Nothing too major. Nice medium light mouthfeel. Realizing now I forgot to say that the Dunkin Pumpkin has a nice medium mouthfeel to it. A little bit of body. This one's got a nice medium light mouthfeel. It's going down pretty smooth and easy. I'm realizing also now that I probably should have put the maple cream ahead of the Dunkin Pumpkin, but, you know, lesson learned. It's definitely got a nice, light, grainy, blonde ale character. Almost weedy. Very light and grainy. I'm not getting a lot of maple out of it, though. maybe a light hint of sweetness in the finish with some maple character to it, but it's not really pronounced. I would have expected more, even more smokiness from the boiled sap would have tickled my fancy more. Ooh, pardon. Yeah, the fact that I'm not getting a lot of maple out of this, maybe some hints of wood smoke and a slight sweetness. I'm going to hit this with a 3 out of 5. Now, I'm going to try to say this only once during this video, but on a scale of 1 to 5, a 2.5 is average. So a 3 definitely puts this at an above average beer level. Just not quite what I would have expected from a maple cream beer. It's smooth. It's definitely easy to drink, but not a lot of maple in there that's coming forward. So we'll leave it at that. It's not even sticky. But anyway, it's not bad. It's just not giving me what I was expecting. I'm going to finish this one up and we're going to move on to the Dunkin Midnight. Alright, so here we go with Dunkin Midnight. And this is an American porter. Okay, I said porter or stout. It turns out to be a porter. Brewed with Dunkin coffee. Yep. It's just a porter brewed with Dunkin coffee. At 6.0%, 6% ABV, so a little stronger than the other two. Not by a huge amount, but still. Whew, pardon. Oh, no. See, I don't do really well with putting a good head on a beer, so I've been fairly aggressive in my pours with these tonight, and this time almost too aggressive, but it worked out. Oh, that is definitely a dark porter. There is very little light coming up through there. That is black as midnight. That's actually like in stout territory for darkness, but stouts use a more heavily roasted malt than porters do typically. Somewhat effervescent. I got a decent head on it, and I'm not seeing a lot of bubbles coming up through, but then again, it's dark enough that you wouldn't see the bubbles anyway, I don't think. But that head is sticking around, which means it's being replenished pretty quickly. So definitely a dark and lovely beer. Whew. Love me some dark beers. It's got a hint of coffee aroma with some roastiness, hint of smoke, but definitely has that slightly charcoal roasted aroma that I expect from a heavily roasted malt. Yeah, definitely like some dark roasted coffee bean aroma as well. Oh, man. I could sit here smelling this all night. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I love the smell of it. And I love like coffee ice cream, sweetened coffee things. I know, fucking pansy when it comes to that. But on the rare cases when I do drink coffee, I typically take it black. Explain that to me. I like coffee ice cream over coffee any day of the week, but when I actually do drink coffee, I take it black without anything mixed in. Anyway. Again, a lovely aroma off of that beer. It's actually got a nice medium mouthfeel. It's lighter than you would have expected from a beer that dark. Oh, I mean, it basically drinks like a coffee. Like an iced coffee, like a cold brew iced coffee. Roasty bitterness. Roasty bitterness bordering on the almost too bitter. Honestly, it's like a cup of black coffee. It's like a cup of black coffee, but then the roasty grain flavor kicks in afterwards. It's highly bitter, slightly acidic. In terms of flavor, I don't know how acidic the actual pH of this is versus coffee and a good porter. But yeah, that's roasty with a hint of smokiness in the finish. Like a cup of dark, cold brew iced coffee. But then again, the graininess, the roasty graininess kicks in. It's with a hint of smoke. It's almost too much. Almost. And like, there's sticking a lump of charcoal in your mouth and chewing on that. And then there's the very pleasant flavor just before that. And this is right on that border. It's almost too much. And I bet you anything, half the people who drink this are going to fucking hate it. But I like it. Again, it's dancing a really, really fine line. I think I'm actually going to hit this with a 5 out of 5. This is a perfectly well put together dark coffee porter. And because it's towing that line so finely where it's almost too much, there's an art to that. And I'm giving it extra points for dancing that line. Because otherwise it's kind of it's not something that I haven't had before. I've had some really great roasty coffee porters, but this one is just so close to being unpleasant, but it isn't. It's just kissing that line of unpleasantness. Yeah, that's a full 5 out of 5 for me. I'm impressed by how borderline it is. I'm going to finish this one up. Then we're going to move on to the last one, the Blueberry Matcha IPA. Whew, pardon. Alright, and the final beer in this pack is the Blueberry Matcha IPA. This one comes at 6.6% ABV. Great. I've been moving from lower to higher ABV beers all evening. That's a good plan. No, it's not. In terms of, alcohol consumption, you're better off moving from the higher to lower ABV beers. But I still stand by what I said at the top of the video about the flavor and this being the correct order to do them in, with the exception of the fact that I probably would have done the Maple Creme before Dunkin Pumpkin, just for the record. But yeah, India Pale Ale brewed with blueberry and matcha tea blend with natural flavors added. Oh. So maybe no coffee in this. Interesting. I am not sure what matcha tea is, but I think we're going to find out. Based on the green label, maybe it was a type of green tea. Well, it's definitely light. And depending on the variety and volume of hops involved, this may wind up being more bitter than the Oh, you definitely smell blueberry and a hint of citrus. Actually got a pretty decent head on that. So I'm okay with that. Damn, yeah, I can smell blueberries from here, and a hint of citrus too. Now, I'm mostly keyed towards citrus and pine esters in the hops, so I'm not surprised by that, but the fact of the matter is I can smell them from pouring the can out, and that's not always the case. That is definitely a cloudy IPA. Not very effervescent. I'm not seeing a lot of bubbles coming up through there, but it's got that same yellow to orange color. Pretty cool. Got a decent head on it without trying too hard. Oh, damn. Lemony blueberry goodness in the aroma. Citrus and blueberry. And I don't know which one's dominant. Oh man, that's another one that's got a great aroma. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Every time you walk into a fucking Dunkin' Donuts, you smell like the bakery smells, the sweet bakery smells, and the breakfast sandwich smells, and the coffee smells, and it is just an olfactory delight walking into Dunkin' Donuts. So I shouldn't be surprised by the fact that I love the aroma of 3 out of 4 of these beers. And at least 2 of them have been so good that it's distracting. But can't see her sniffing it all night. I'd hyperventilate for one. Oh, damn. That is bitter as fuck when it comes to the hops. I don't know. I wonder what the IBUs on that are, because there's a lot of hoppy bitterness in that beer. Up front, I'm getting blueberry with that slightly tart and sweet blueberry flavor, but then there's a hint of bitterness in blueberries, and as soon as that kicks in, it gives way to this big fucking punch of hoppy bitterness that doesn't have a lot of specific character. Now I know I was picking up on citrus in the aroma, but if anything, the actual hop flavor that I'm getting maybe has some earthiness to it, like dirt earthiness to it. Not a bad thing. That's just what I'm getting. But yeah, there's that hint of blueberry flavor with a blueberry up front. It's got a nice medium light mouthfeel, by the way. But yeah. Here come the hiccups trying to kick in again. But yeah, just a nice blueberry flavor. And again, immediately transfers to big hoppy bitterness. And again, not a lot of specific hoppy esters coming through in the flavor, but if I had to attribute anything to it, it would be earthiness. This dirt flavor. And again, I know that sounds so bad, but it's not. It's good. It's a very earthy, highly earthy finish. But again, that earthy finish, it's secondary to that big punch of just overall hoppy bitterness. Um, Fruited IPA, it's a little tricky. I mean, it's not unpleasant. I've got nothing bad to say about it. I'm impressed by the fact that I'm picking up on earthiness over anything else in the hop profile, because again, I'm mostly keyed towards citrus and pine. I almost want to give it a 3.5 out of 5, because again, there's nothing that's really blowing me away or impressing me about it. But then there's the fact that I'm picking up on earthy notes at all, which is unusual for me. So I'm going to hit this with a 4 out of 5. I think it's more of an IPA than a fruited beer, but again, you know, it's a blueberry matcha IPA. I have no idea what matcha tea tastes like, so I don't think I'm picking up on any of those flavor notes. Maybe matcha tea is really earthy and bitter. I don't know. But yeah, I'm hitting this with a 3.5 out of 5. Or no, sorry, 4 out of 5 because of the earthiness. I would normally do a 3.5, but the earthiness is making me push it up to a 4 because that's something I'm not used to getting. So overall, it's a solid pack. It's well put together. I might actually pick up a second one before the end of the season. I don't know. Depends on how many other beers come across my radar before then. So that's just what I've got to say about them. Folks, hit me up down below in the comments or the email link. I'd love to hear what you have to say about these beers, or the pack as a whole. I think it's a good investment and everybody should go out and get it. While you're down there, don't forget to like and share the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit me up with any viewer requests. Again, I live in central Maine, so I will do whatever's within reason to try to accommodate viewer requests. But a lot of stuff doesn't make its way here. For example, I really wanted to do Dogfish Head's Utopia's Barrel-Aged Worldwide Stout. But last year it was only released in Delaware. This year it went nationwide. But the closest beer store around here that got it to me is a 45 minute to an hour drive, depending on traffic. And before I could even make time to make the trip, they were sold out of it. So, you know, yeah. There's a chain of beer stores in the state of Maine called Damon's. And the Bangor location, which is, again, 45 to an hour drive from me. 45 minute to an hour drive from me is... they're the only fucking location that got it. Yes, I did check Waterville and Augusta. And, yeah, somebody said the Bangor location had it, but I had my buddy EM Destroyer and his wife Emily take a look out there, and nothing. They didn't have it. So I'm not making a special trip out there. I was thinking about it. No, I'm not. Anyway. I got off track again. Sorry. I promised I wasn't going to do that. Anyway. Viewer requests, I will do what I can to accommodate them. Hit me up down there with them. If you've got a home brew that you do, Jay, I'm still waiting for Boosh to recover to start drinking your beers, and we will review them as soon as he's back on his feet, so to speak. Or depending on how long it's going to take him, I might get impatient and just do it myself anyway. But yeah, if you got your own homebrew, hit me up down there. Try and figure out a way to get it into my hands, and I will review it fairly and honestly on the channel. All right, enough with the verbal diarrhea for tonight. Folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to continue to try to drink myself into oblivion tonight, and cheers.